start recording. All right, for 3A, I can calculate features of tangent and cotangent functions. So the very first part we need to review, do tangent and cotangent functions have an amplitude? No, they look like this. So they keep going up and down forever, meaning they don't have a height. The only kind of trig functions that will have a height are what two kinds? Sine or cosine. All the other ones are split up by asymptotes, so they approach infinity and negative infinity, so they won't have a height. So the amplitude should be 9. Y'all okay with that? So the 4 just stretches it. It just makes it even skinnier and steeper. Good question. All right, I'm going to, no, I'm not going to skip them. We're going to go ahead and do period and phase shift. So the period of tangent and cotangent is supposed to be what? Just pi. So remember, tangent and cotangent repeat. If they start in quadrant 1, by the time they hit quadrant 3, they will repeat. So that's only 180 degrees or pi. Okay? So the period is supposed to be pi. What are we multiplying it by? 2 over 3. Don't forget to flip it and do the opposite. That's where y'all will mess up on the test, okay? So what should the new period be? 2 pi over 3 or 2/3 pi. That's fine if you type in 2/3 pi. Any questions about the period? All right, the phase shift is not left pi over 2. If you put that on the test, it's wrong. A lot of y'all missed that on the quiz. To see the phase shift, you have to put it in factored form. So what would factored form be? What do I need to do? Good. Take out the 3 over 2, which means I'm going to divide by 3 over 2, right? So my phase shift will be whatever pi over 2 divided by 3 pi over 2 is. Can we divide by a fraction? No, so we multiply by so the phase shift is going to be pi over 2 times 2 over 3. Same thing you did up here, which equals pi over 3. And which direction is it moving if it's adding? Good. So left pi over 3. Yes, on the test, remember, anything you type in, I go grade. So you can do a capital L and then pi over 3. You can do a little arrow pointing to the left and then pi over 3. You can spell out left pi over 3. It doesn't matter to me. Right. If you type in lowercase LE, it's going to put a less than or equal sign. That's this way. So you need to make it capital. You can do the whole thing in caps lock, LEFT. Okay? But I'll take it anyway. As long as I can tell you were trying to say left, I'm good. All right? Okay, the asymptotes. This is where a lot of us are still messing up. So I need you guys to think about your unit circle. Yes, you can use your notes, but on the exam, if we have it, you will not be able to. So think about the unit circle. This is cotangent. So cotangent is found by doing the reciprocal of tangent. So instead of y over x, we're going to do x over y to find cotangent. So it's going to be undefined, meaning there's asymptotes when y is what? What would make this undefined if y is 0? There we go. So where is y values 0? Where are the y values 0? Right here on the x-axis. So at angle 0, at angle pi or 180, and angle 2 pi. So my asymptote should be at 0, pi, and 2 pi. That's where they normally are for cotangent. Okay. What am I doing to each of these asymptotes? Multiplying by 2/3. Good, Taryn. Multiplying by 2/3 because we're moving the period in 2/3, meaning the asymptotes get pushed in too. So multiply all of them by 2/3, and then what do? Left pi over 3, which means we subtract pi over 3. Excellent. minus pi over 3 minus pi over 3. So everybody watch. What's 0 times 2/3? 0 minus pi over 3 would just be what? Negative pi over 3. So there's your first asymptote. Pi times 2/3. Does everybody agree that's 2 pi over 3? Okay, 2 pi over 3 minus pi over 3 is just pi over 3. And then right here, 2 pi times 2 is 4 pi over 3. What is 4 pi over 3 minus pi over 3? 3 pi over 3, which is pi. So these are your 3 asymptotes. Let these people in that got kicked out.
Ms. Poole, on the test, do we have to write all 3?
Yes, it will say on the test, what are the asymptotes over the first interval or the first trip around the unit circle? Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
Ms. Poole.
So can somebody answer her question and tell us why the period for tangent and cotangent is just pi for extra credit? Yeah, so when you are dealing with tangent and cotangent in quadrant 1, you have positive y over positive x, so it will equal positive. When you get to quadrant 3, it's negative y over negative x, which is positive. So it's going to start, all the numbers start repeating with the same sign after just 2 quadrants. So it's just pi. Does that help? Okay. All right, Ross, what's up, babe?
For the phase shift, you did the multiply pi over 2 into 2 over 3. I thought you just do the lift, because I got pi over 6, because you factor it out.
Right, but when you factor it out, look up here at my work. When you factor this out, if you divide 3/2, you can't divide by 3/2. So you're going to have to multiply by 2/3. I did factor. So this would be pi over 2 times 2 over 3. The 2's cancel. Even if you don't cancel them, you get 2 pi over 6, which reduces to pi over 3.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
All right, who remembers how to check these asymptotes on Desmos? Because I think a lot of you forgot how to do that for the quiz, which is why you missed them on the quiz. Kevin, you're saying you remember. Can you talk me through it? Let me get my Desmos open. Hang on. Because you're so brilliant. I know you're going to say it quick. All right, go. What do I need to do? Okay, good. So everybody look, I'm going to put in the equation they gave me. There's actually a faster way. So I am going to tell you what he said. The x does not go down there, Miss Poole. 3/2 x plus pi over 2. All right. Let me move my people. Hang on one second. I love y'all's questions. I will try to get to all of them, but I also want to make sure I cover the review. So this is the function if I graph it in Desmos. Does everybody see this? Yes, no? Okay. The cotangent is undefined, where the tangent would be defined at what value? Good. Everybody look in my face. That's not my face. Here I am. Hello. The tangent is the cotangent is undefined, where the tangent is 0. So let's just review, because a lot of you don't understand it, which is why you're having to keep looking back in your notes. You shouldn't have to. Cotangent is x over y. That is because it's the reciprocal of tangent, which is y over x. The cotangent is undefined when the y is 0. So if the y is 0 for tangent, I don't know why it's not letting me draw. If the y is 0 for tangent, that means the whole tangent would be 0, right? So the easiest way to check your asymptotes, in a new box, type in the same equation, but type it in for tangent. Son of a gun. Anywhere tangent is 0, meaning here and here and here, that's where your asymptote should be. And vice versa. I showed you that in the notes. So say it's a tangent function, what would you come type underneath it? The cotangent, and look where it's 0. There's your asymptotes. And you can do it for secant and cosecant. If it's secant, you'll type in cosine. If it's cosecant, you'll go underneath and type in sine. And it's wherever there's 0, because when you flip 0, it is undefined. I'm so upset that y'all didn't remember me showing you that. Good. Yes. On the test, I require you to show work. So you need to do it algebraically. But you can do this to check yourself. Does that help us? Good. That should help you. I showed y'all this. I'm sad. But now you remember, don't forget, like, look at that. There they are. Boom. Everybody's good? All right, let's move on. Go back to my ladybug. And so now I need to do, what did y'all say? I wrote it down. 5. Let me move my people. Online people, unmute if you have a question. So for 5, we're going to write the equation of a tangent function. So I know it should be y equals, is my Prodnia up here? Prodnia is up here, I think. Prodnia.
Yes, Miss Poole.
You're going to do your y's, right, girl?
Um,
And Brody, y equals. A lot of them missed it because they just didn't put the y equals. And KJ, they were so sad. If it says equation, it should say y equals or f of x equals, correct? You learned that in Math 1. Its tangent doesn't give me an amplitude. So there's nothing out front. Has a phase shift right pi over 2. So we know in factored form, this is going to say x what pi over 2? Good, minus, because remember, whatever's inside with the x always does the opposite of what you would think, okay? If the midline is 1, what should be on the end over here? +1, very good. And then the period is 2 pi. So they're saying in class, now we just got to deal with the period. So everybody watch. What's the period of tangent supposed to be? So what do I multiply by to make it equal 2 pi? 2. So if we're multiplying by 2, does everybody agree? We are stretching by 2. Which means what should my equation say? 1/2. Very good. Does that help whoever needed number 5?
So if you like,
Always,
simplify it, one half x
yes, you could put 1/2 x minus pi over 4, but you don't have to. You can leave it just like this. If you put 1/2 x minus pi over 4, that's fine. Same thing. Very good question. Is everybody okay with 5 now? All right, let's keep rocking and rolling. I think for number 6, we struggled because we couldn't read the graphs. So just remember, your test is on Delta Math, meaning the graphs are nice and big and they're color-coded and they got the grid marks, okay? All right, I am going to do both of these quickly. We've been doing these a lot because these are usually ones on the exam. Yeah, you'll be able to look on Delta Math too. But yes, this one, so this one has a max at 2 and a min at -4. And if you look in between those, does everybody agree with me the midline is -1? Okay, so what should it say? Y equals, we haven't talked about what kind of function yet, but we know the midline is -1. So what should go at the back? -1. And now we can figure out the A value, the amplitude, because you should be able to see from -1, it goes up how many till it hits this max? 3. So the amplitude is 3. Now, some of you are still getting the type of function it is wrong. So everybody look on your y-axis. So I'm looking right here. Let me grab a highlighter actually. Find where it starts on the y-axis and trace its path like I did. So this one goes up, down, and back up. Is that even or odd? Odd if it goes like this, because this end is going to keep going this way. This end is going up. They're opening different ways. It's odd. So what kind of function is this? Sine. And think about it this way. Remember the corny thing I taught you? It looks like a S. Okay, so this is sine. What's the only other things we have to look for? Period and a phase shift. Was there a phase shift? No, because the S starts on the y-axis. I didn't move it anywhere. So there's no phase shift. What is the period? How long does it take for it to make one complete S? 6 pi. So guys, what is the period for sine supposed to be? What do I multiply 2 pi by to get 6 pi? 3. So what should my equation say? 1/3. And what goes behind the 1/3? A lot of you missed that on the quiz too. You just forgot to put your X. Okay, so the phase shift is just where you're shifting it. X is the variable. So the X comes after the stretch or compression. Yes, X is the same thing as theta, because remember when you're graphing trig functions, the input is an angle. The output is a value. Just like on the unit circle, we look for the angle and the ordered pairs that go with that angle. Hang on, I'm going to do that one. You're getting ahead of me. Somebody asked for that one, I believe. Yep. All right, let's look at B. Look on your y-axis. We're going to do this part first this time. Trace one full curve. So where it ends back up where it started would be right here. What kind of function is this one? Even, so it is cosine is what they're saying in class. So this is going to be y equals, please do not forget your y equals, something cosine, something in parentheses. All right, I'm going to let y'all look at it again. What's the midline?
Negative.
Yeah. Good, KJ. I got -2. So guys, look, some of y'all are struggling with the midline. The max is 1. The minimum is at -5. What is right in between 1 and -5? -2. So if the midline's -2, this should say -2. The midline of cosine is still 0. Think about your midline, guys, because y'all are getting confused with where it starts versus the midline. The y-intercept of cosine is supposed to be 1 because the very first x value on the unit circle is +1. But cosine and sine both go between 1 and -1. So the middle should be 0 for both of them. Okay? But we shifted this one down too. So the midline is at -2. Everybody's good there? All right, how many does it go up from -2 to hit the max? 3, and it also goes 3 down to hit the min. Does everybody agree with that? Okay, so now, was there a phase shift? No, the top of it starts on the y-axis. That's how cosine is supposed to be. Look back in your notes at the parent graph, okay? So we just need to look at the period. What is the period for this one? Good, it ends where it started at 4 pi over 3. So we know it's supposed to equal 4 pi over 3. What is the period normally? 2 pi. So what do we multiply 2 pi by to get 4 pi over 3? 2/3, I agree. 2 pi times 2 is 4 pi over 3. So if we're multiplying by 2/3, what should my equation say? 3/2. Do we feel better about those now? Okay, good. A lot of y'all missed those on the quiz, so I want to make sure we're okay. Also, I'm going to roast y'all real quick. A bunch of us missed number 8. If you missed number 8 on the test, I'm going to be pissed. because that really requires no thinking. Like, I'm not trying to be ugly. Where do you go put the table though? Desmos, and then you just go in the box underneath it and you type in Y1 squiggle, a sign, because we're trying to find a sign function, right? And we talked about why we always find sign functions for those, so go back and look in your notes if you forgot. B, and then this is where some of y'all are messing up. I had 5 of you email me during the quiz and say, it won't, I'm putting bx plus c plus d and it won't find my equation. That's because you didn't put x1. Desmos can do more than one table at a time, so you have to tell it it's in the first table for x and y. Plus c plus d. If you're messing up on this one, that tells me you're not taking your notes and you're not able to flip back in them and read them properly on a quiz or test. All right? So we'll go over the right answers for that one. None of you said you needed that one, which is good. We did say we needed 7. So I will help you set up 7 and we'll look at the graph for B when I go over the rest of the review. So for 7, what should you do very first after you read it? Draw it. Very good. So Taryn, how high off the ground is my Ferris wheel? 5 feet. Very good. So that bottom point is going to start at 5. Does everybody agree with that for 7? Okay, what's the diameter of the wheel? So then it's going to go up 56 more from 5. So what is the maximum at? Good. Remember, when you move up, you're adding. So 5 plus 56 is 61. Is everybody okay there? All right. So a couple different ways you could do this next part. To find the midline, you could add 61 and 5 because that's your min and your max. And then you could divide them by 2. That'll give you 33 as the middle of the wheel. Other way you can do it, it starts at 5 feet off the ground. We know that the diameter is 56, which means the radius halfway is 28. And if you do 5 plus 28, don't you get 33? Good, that's what I did too. So if we're writing an equation, it would be y equals, we know the midline is 33. Somebody tell me what else we know. What's the amplitude, Katie? Good. It goes 28 up and down from that middle. So the amplitude is 28. Good. So the next place you should go, it is a cosine function. Think about a Ferris wheel, and you can draw it out if you want to. When you get on a Ferris wheel, you get on at the bottom. Then you go up to the top, and then you come back down to the bottom. Is that even or odd? Even, so it is a cosine function. Okay, hang on. Now y'all moving ahead. That's good. That means you understand it. People at home, do y'all have questions so far?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Y'all got to ask them quicker if you do. Thank you, KJ, for answering. All right, 28 cosine. We don't know the period yet. We'll come to that in a second, plus 33. The people in class are saying it should be negative 28. They are correct. This is why it's negative. Make sure you watch this part. This was a positive cosine function. Cosine always starts at 1, goes down, and comes back up. What is my Ferris wheel going to do? It's going to go up first and then come back down. So we've just flipped it. If it's supposed to look like this, does everybody agree that pencil is just a reflection? So we just flipped it because it's opening down. So it should be negative. It's supposed to open up. Okay. Very good on that one, y'all. What's the only other thing we have to find? Did it say anything about shifting where they get on? No. So don't worry about a phase shift. There isn't one. What do we have to find? How we, or what we multiply by to make the period 40 seconds, right? Okay, what's the period for cosine supposed to be? 2 pi. So I need to figure out what I multiply by to make that 40. Okay, 20. I like that because 2 times 20 makes 40. And then does everybody see how there's no pi back here? Which means I need the pi's to cancel, which means the pi should go in the denominator. So to multiply 2 pi times 20 over pi will make my period 40 seconds. If I multiply by 20 over pi, what should go in my parentheses? Pi over 20, and what goes after it? Very good. Are y'all okay with that? Bless you. Yeah, it says write an equation that best models the distance d. So technically I should have put d equals. Yep, it just wanted an equation. Now for part B, when will the rider be above 45 feet if they ride for 3 full rotations? Where can I go put this equation to figure that out? Desmos. So I'm going to switch to Desmos. I'll put in my new trig graph. Y equals negative 28 cosine pi over 20 x plus 33. And I'm going to zoom out because it's a Ferris wheel, so it should go really high up and down. There we go. And I'm trying to find for 3 full rotations. So it's going to go up, down, up, down, 3 times, right? So I'm looking at these 3. When will it be above 45? Does everybody see how I put in y equals 45? Click the points where they intersect. So from 12.82 to 27.18 seconds, it's above 45. It's a parenthesis because at 12.82, is it above 45? It's at 45. So you can't include the 12.82. So you need parentheses. I will write it because I'm sure somebody at home was like, what the heck did she just say? Because a lot of my weak A kids, y'all are visual. 12.82, I'm not going to waste time putting the points, to 27.18. It's above 45. Union, that's only the first time around. The second time around, it's above 45 at 52.82 to what? 67.18. Very good. So this is just like the one we did the other day in the warm-up. 52 point something to 67 point something. And the decimals repeat because the period is constant. Very good. Yep. And then the third time around, guys, you would union and you would type this in. I did make sure the U button should pop up. If they don't pop up this time, I don't know what's not working. And I can call Delta Math again. But you shouldn't have to type use. There should be a little U at the bottom for you to click. Okay? I know I'm going fast, but that's because we're running out of time, which is okay. I'll put my key on Canvas. Y'all know that. So I need to do 10. Can I do 10 real quick? And whoever needed 9, can I help you with that separately?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. All right, let me share. So let's do number 10. I actually left that blank on my paper. Ross, I'm picking on you. It's not for a bad thing though. What did you tell me yesterday about number 10?
That was like the one we did in the notes.
Yeah, it's literally out of your notes. The same word problem from your notes. So we're talking about 2 ships leaving port, right? Do you guys remember that the first ship left port at 15 miles per hour east? So we said X of T was 15 times the number of hours, and it's positive because it's going to the right. It's going east. Correct? What was the vertical position of this one? 0, because it wasn't going up or down any. It was just going right. Correct? All right. Look at the next one. There's going to be one similar to this on your test. The second ship leaves 27 miles north of the first one, so we added 27. And it's heading south, which means it should be what kind of 22? Negative. And if it's heading south, did y'all agree? I believe we did yesterday. It should be the vertical position since it's going south. So that was negative 22t plus 27. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you need to go watch that notes video from yesterday. What was the horizontal position for the second ship? 0. Very good. So yesterday in our notes, we actually did part A. Express D, the distance, as a function of T. How do we find distance? Distance formula, which is what? X2 minus X1, so 0 minus negative 15 or minus 15t squared would just be negative 15t squared, right? If you do 0 minus this one, I'm not spending a lot of time, we did this yesterday, plus y2 minus y1. What happens when I minus 0? Nothing. So we're going to have negative 22t plus 27 squared. There's your distance. Do you need to do anything to it? No, I said express it as a function d of t. I did not say put it in standard form. Some of y'all doing extra work. Y'all okay with that part? Okay. Part B, find the distance between the two ships 2 hours after they leave. How would I find the distance if it's been 2 hours? Go put 2 in for t. So you could have typed this equation into Desmos. You could have just done it by hand and typed it in a calculator where you put 2 in. Is everybody okay with that? So you're just going to go put 2 in for t. T equals 2, plug it in. I don't feel like I need to do that for y'all. Y'all can check mine for the right answer. Okay? All right, for this one, find the minimum distance between the two ships. I don't know why some of y'all plugged 2 in. Did I tell you in part C, this is a completely different question, listen carefully. Did I tell you in part C that the time was 2? Then why are some of y'all putting 2 in? Because I saw your papers. We don't know. I didn't tell you what time it was. So what equation do we need to use for part C? Part A. Put that in Desmos and find the minimum. If it wants the minimum distance, does it want the X or the Y? Good. Distance was the output, so it wants the minimum Y value. That's not a hard problem. The hardest part is setting it up and writing the equation, but we actually did that yesterday. Are there any other ones I need to do? I know my person that wanted number 9. I just want you to see this is going to be on Canvas after people turn in their reviews later because some of y'all's classmates stay turning stuff in late. All right, look, stop packing up. We got 2 minutes. It's color coded. I showed you where I got everything from. I told you what all the parent asymptotes were and highlighted it. Color coded, very nice and pretty. All the explanations. Here's my last sheet. I just got to fill in the answers for 10. But all of this will be on Canvas. When are office hours? 3 to 4. If any of you just want to stay after school, just send me a text and I can tell you what room to meet in. Okay? All right, y'all are good to pack up. What's our homework? Rework 5 problems off the study guide. Very good. Anybody at home have questions? I'm going to stop